Timothy, please. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Chair. And I am drawing from a ministerial code. And in that, the ministerial code requires ministers to observe the highest standards in relation to the stewardship of public funds. So we know that Michael McMonagle was employed by you from March 2020 to May 2020. Can we ask how many days a week did he work in your constituency office?
Sure, the barriers coming out.
Timothy, it needs to be under, it has to be under the remit of the Executive Office.
This is out of the ministerial code that I'm drawn directly from. You're the First Minister. Does this code apply to you?
The ministerial code does apply to me, sure.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So on that basis, how many days a week did he work in your office?
Sure, I'm not answering questions that are not for this committee.
That's an employment contract.
So are we setting that aside in the ministerial code that doesn't apply to the First Minister? No? So how many days a week?
It doesn't apply to the Executive Office and the functions and the scrutiny.
Because this is the credit. That's where it all comes down to. This is about confidence in those leading the government of Northern Ireland. So this is a ministerial code that they have signed up to, and there's questions regarding financial matters which signed up to as a minister, which apply.
Let me speak. The financial matters relate to the business of the Assembly Commission. Now, if you have a complaint in relation to the use of the public funds that are used for the employment of staff, etc., you should refer those to the Assembly Commission, and/or you can go to the Standards Commissioner. Am I correct?
What I'm saying is,
that's correct. I've just received. Yes.
Doesn't relate to this.
Doesn't relate to this.
Looking at it, 7 principles of public life: integrity, accountability, openness, honesty, leadership. So on that basis, when I've asked you a question of what happens in your constituency office, you're deciding to duck it, you're deciding not to answer it.
Timothy, it's not a question.
You can't separate the two.
You can separate the two, because the due diligence in relation to the use of public funds for employment and office costs, that work is done on the 4th floor of this building, as you know, and is overseen by independent auditors and accountants. Time
and time again we've heard that Mr McMonagle was a press officer from Sinn Féin, whereas we have the First Minister sitting in front of us here now. The First Minister has employed this man from March 2020 to May 2020, and there's a serious question over how the monies were spent or paid to him for his services. And the First Minister's deciding she's not wanting to provide any details. How many days a week he worked in your office? Did he do any work for you? Or is it a case of Sinn Féin just using money from your budget for the political animal?
Timothy, have you referred these matters to the Assembly Commission or the Standards Commission?
This is the TU office, and I have the opportunity, when the First Minister's sitting in front of me, to ask questions. Who's chairing the meeting? Get Paul their place.
Please, Chair, please. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much. Well, then we'll move on. If that's what you want. If you don't want to follow the ministerial code, if you don't want to uphold the 7 principles of public life, that's a matter for you. You're talking about confidence. You're talking about confidence, and you're not doing yourself any justice today.
Sorry, you're badgering a witness. We have gone through this before around the code of conduct of committee members. So, First Minister respond, and then I'll let you back in. Timothy, go ahead.
All I would say, Chair, is I take my pledge of office very seriously. I take the use of public funds very seriously, that I will stand over my role in all of those things.
Thank you.
So, going back to the last, and I've Hansard here to keep me right. When you appeared here before, you said regarding Maria Cahill, of course you believe her, and this relates to ending violence against women and girls.
Thank you for relating.
And this is all about confidence and credibility to be leading up on that. In Maria's book, I just want to quote: "We were in Jerry Adams's office, Breach and I, and it goes on to say, 'What do you want to happen to him?' I knew she was asking me whether I wanted Morris killed." So you agree now that you believe Maria. What were the IRA doing in a Sinn Féin office?
Sure, I'm here to answer questions as the Executive Office, and that is completely out of order.
Do you not find that odd?
Sorry, excuse me, Timothy.
No, I just want to re-emphasise the requirement for members just to try to keep within the remit of the committee, and as it relates to the Executive Office.
To give credibility to your document, do you want to take this opportunity to apologise to Maria for all the times in the past?
And that's a political question.
No, it's not. This is about confidence and ending violence against. No, it's not. Chair.
Sure, I'll make a general comment about ending violence against women and girls, if that's helpful. We have launched our strategy. It's been co-designed with all of our partners out there. It is an excellent piece of work. I think it'll make a real difference. We all have to tackle the scourge of misogyny that exists out there in our society. We have work to do as a society. We only have to look at the recent death of Mary Ward, coming hot on the heels of so many other women that have been tragically murdered by men in our society. We need to focus our efforts on making sure that we change that picture. We have to do the preventative work, and we have to lead from the front on our strategy. I am determined to lead from the front on that issue.
Okay, thank you. Your 5 minutes are up, Timothy. Thank you. They are.
Point Timothy, you started that. You started that a minute and a half
Are you-
after the clerk started his.
Just like the other members, I want to put it on record that I don't feel 5 minutes was enough time.
Well,
And you
I
said it in
explained
your
to you-
opening remarks that you wouldn't be interfering with questions. It was quite obvious you were. We had talked about it at the start of the committee that
You're-
members would have 5 minutes to ask questions and they shouldn't be impeded, and that's exactly what you done.